Genesis 6 introduces the intriguing narrative of the Nephilim, sparking centuries of debate and wonder among scholars and readers alike. The chapter describes the Nephilim as present on earth when the sons of God came to the daughters of men, resulting in men of renown. The Hebrew term Nephilim can be translated as fallen ones, while the Septuagint renders it as giants, hinting at extraordinary beings. A later reference in Numbers 13:33 recalls the Nephilim, where Israelite spies described giants inhabiting Canaan, inspiring fear and awe. These passages have birthed three primary interpretive views: the angelic or the watcher's view, the Sethite or the righteous line, and the royal or dynastic view. First, the angelic or watcher's view identifies the sons of God as divine beings, possibly angels, who intermingled with human women. The offspring were giants and violent. This view was common among early Jewish and some early Christian writers. Supporters of this view point to similar language in extra-biblical texts, such as the Book of Enoch, which expands on these angelic watchers. In the Book of Enoch, rebellious angels descend, take human wives, and produce giants, described as a corrupting force upon humanity. This interpretation also finds echoes in the writings of Philo, Josephus, and early church fathers who saw these passages as supernatural in origin. Secondly, the Sethite or righteous line view interprets the sons of God as descendants of Seth, the godly lineage, who intermarried with Cain's descendants. The Nephilim result from mixed marriages and moral decline. This view was popular among many church fathers and later interpreters who rejected bodily unions between angels and humans. Proponents argue this reading aligns with other Old Testament references, where Son of God imagery occasionally denotes faithful believers. The Sethite view highlights concerns over the intermixing of the righteous and unrighteous, a recurring biblical theme about maintaining purity. Thirdly, the royal or dynastic view suggests the phrase sons of God refers to kings or noble rulers, whose unions led to powerful, possibly tyrannical offspring. Mesopotamian and Near Eastern traditions provide context, as rulers often claimed divine descent, blurring lines between human and divine status. Ancient traditions outside the Bible echo the story of semi-divine beings and mighty offspring, evident in Greek, Babylonian, and Ugaritic myths. Stories of gods and mortals intermingling, producing heroes or giants, are widespread in ancient literature, suggesting a shared cultural motif. The Book of Jubilees and other non-canonical texts elaborate on the Nephilim saga, describing a world rife with violence and chaos. Jubilees and some Dead Sea Scrolls fragments add related motifs. These texts shaped later Jewish and Christian reception. In biblical echoes after the flood, mention of giants persists. Goliath and other formidable foes hint at the enduring legend of the Nephilim. The Anakim, Rephaim, and Emim are described as mighty or giant-like peoples inhabiting the land, broadening the biblical motif. These references contribute to a persistent memory of ancient giants, signaling deep cultural resonance and continuity across generations. Linguistically, the term Nephilim is shrouded in mystery, with root meanings tied to falling or fallen ones, fueling varied interpretations. The phrase sons of God appears elsewhere in Scripture, often describing angelic beings in the Book of Job, supporting the supernatural view. However, cultural and literary context suggests that ancient audiences may have understood these titles differently based on their worldviews. Old Testament scholarship often explores the intersections of language, myth, and theology when approaching these loaded terms. Evidence for Nephilim remains elusive, with scholarly consensus generally regarding them as literary figures rather than historical entities. Archaeological attempts to link ancient skeletal remains to the Nephilim are speculative, and not widely accepted in academic circles. Modern scholarship often treats Genesis 6 as a blend of mythic storytelling and theological messaging about human corruption. The Nephilim narrative likely functioned to highlight the dangers of overreaching power, spiritual rebellion, and societal chaos. In theological circles, the angelic or watcher's view has waned, with many scholars favoring naturalistic, socio-political interpretations. Despite this, fascination with angelic encounters and ancient giants persists in popular culture and fringe theories today. Each primary interpretation provides meaningful insights into the concerns and imagination of ancient societies. The Watcher account personifies spiritual rebellion, blaming cosmic forces for earthly corruption and catastrophe. The Sahite view reinforces the call for moral separation and the dangers of compromise with corrupt influences. Meanwhile, the royal or dynastic view comments on the abuses of power that marked ancient monarchies, linking tyranny with disorder. Ancient texts and traditions contribute additional dimensions, blending biblical and cultural memories of great and fearful beings. The giants of Numbers 13:33 reappear as symbols of formidable obstacles, testing the faith and resolve of the Israelites. In literature and art, visions of the Nephilim have inspired imaginative depictions throughout history. Modern retellings, from novels to films, often draw on the mysterious allure of the Nephilim as otherworldly figures. This biblical account has left a legacy in both academic study and folk tradition, echoing through centuries. Language studies reveal that ancient Hebrew culture was comfortable merging mythic narrative with historical memory. Canaanite and Babylonian myths likely influenced the Israelites' own stories, creating a rich milieu for interpreting Genesis 6. The phrase "sons of God" could shift meaning over time, reflecting changing cultural contexts and theological views. For early audiences, such stories explained the presence of evil, violence, and chaos preceding the Great Flood. Contemporary biblical scholarship embraces a spectrum of approaches, recognizing the passage's complexity and layered significance. Some research focuses on the mythic parallels, while others emphasize Israel's unique monotheistic reinterpretation. Significance lies in the enduring questions these verses pose about human nature, power, and spiritual boundaries. Genesis 6 remains a subject of fascination, inviting reinterpretation and discussion across cultures and ages. The story continues to elicit debate about the boundaries between the human and the divine. Across ancient and modern times, the Nephilim narrative bridges myth, history, and theology. The interplay of language, culture, and genre makes Genesis 6 one of the Bible's most enigmatic passages. This text reminds us that ancient worldview, symbolism, and storytelling style are key to interpretation. Through the Watchers, we confront cosmic rebellion, with the Scythites, moral compromise, and with the Dynasts, earthly ambition. The echoes of this saga resound in later traditions, building a legacy of mythic giants and fallen heroes. Genesis 6 challenges us to consider how ancient peoples perceived the origins of evil and divine human interaction. In the context of its era, the legend offered gripping explanations for widespread violence and the coming flood. Modern readers, scholars, and theologians continue to wrestle with these verses, uncovering fresh perspectives. The debate over the Nephilim symbolizes the perpetual tension between the supernatural and rational interpretations. Despite scholarly consensus, mystery and allure still surround these ancient giants and their tale. For many, the Nephilim evoke timeless themes of pride, fear, and the cost of crossing forbidden boundaries. While our understanding evolves, Genesis 6 endures as a cornerstone of biblical mystery and imagination. Its legacy reaches beyond scripture into literature, art, and popular speculation. Ultimately, Genesis 6 verses 1-4 invites us to reflect on the boundaries of knowledge, faith, and human creativity. Though definitive answers remain elusive, the story continues to inspire questions and exploration. From ancient texts to modern debate, the Nephilim retain their enigmatic presence in spiritual and academic discourse. Through language, myth, and interpretation, Genesis 6 persists as a window into the fears and hopes of antiquity. Regardless of view, angelic, Sehite, or dynastic, the story compels us to ponder the intersection of myth and meaning. As we explore these narratives, we glimpse the powerful ways ancient peoples grappled with mystery and meaning. The Nephilim saga, complex and mysterious, stands as a testament to enduring human curiosity. Genesis SIX's story of divine, human, and monstrous interplay continues to invite thoughtful reflection. This enigmatic chapter endures, stimulating debate, discovery, and the imagination of generations.